Okay, folks, welcome back to the channel. As I have said in other videos, I was going to build a Trump Maga gun. There is a mock-up already on the channel, and this is basically what a complete AR-15 carbine looks like, almost 99% completely disassembled. You're looking at every piece, plus some of the small tools it's going to take to do this. And I'll point them out, and we'll, so you know what they are. This is the rare breed Spikes Tactical lower, stripped. Nothing in it. Gold Cerakote. The matching Spikes Tactical Crusader upper. Stripped completely. Gold Cerakote again. There's your gas tube inlet. Barrel goes here. Bolt goes back through here with the charging handle. Take down pivot pins. The bolt, commonly known as the bolt carrier group, this is actually just pretty much the stripped bolt. You can see right down through it. Let's see. Well, anyway, there. Nothing in there. Empty. Titanium nitride. Gold. Beautiful. What goes inside that bolt carrier, that's called the bolt carrier, is the actual bolt itself. This is the actual AR-15 bolt with a titanium firing pin. Goes like so. Now, one of the things I like to bring to attention, many people don't know about, and this is actually in the military tech manual for dealing with and cleaning your AR-15. When I was an instructor on TDY to the firing range, we made all of the students clean their M16 when they were done with their 150 rounds they fired through it. Now, if you don't think military ammo is dirty, I got another thing coming for you. That's some of the dirtiest ammo ever made. I don't know how they get away with it, but that's dirty stuff. You shoot 150 rounds through an M16, an M4, or whatever, it's going to have so much carbon built up back here on the end of this thing, you're going to have literally got to scrape it all. I'm not kidding you. We actually had to teach the students how to clean all this. Clean the inside of the bore, clean all the inside of the locking part. Because there's a special brush that you stick up in the bore that cleans. It's got little bristles on it. I don't have it here, but it has little bristles sticking out on it, and you clean the bore and you clean the locking lugs at the same time. In the end of the barrel here, you just happen to have one of your handy. Isn't that something? There's your barrel. There's your bead throat right here. These are polished, these were polished bead throats. But the bolt comes down in here, like so, and locks. Locks in place like this. It just slightly rotates and locks. Well, this gets all gummed up. That'll get all full of carbon. I mean, it'll just get so gunked up you won't believe it. Because the gas is coming through this thing. The gas tube dumps that gas down in through it because of where the gas tube being right above the bolt, which I'll show you. The location of the gas tube being where it is, it's throwing, when it comes backward, it's blowing all that gas across the bolt in the face. So yeah, it does dump some kind of punk into that thing, and that's one of the drawbacks of the AR-15. Many people complain about that, but one of the things you have to do is clean it regularly if you use it. And one of the things they recommend, of course, what I said, is that you must take this bolt out and clean all this back here around the rings. Get this whole back shoulder here clean because you've got a lot of carbon built up on the back of this. So anyway, when you go to put this back together, one of the things you have to do, and you can do it with a firing pin, and you can do it with any one thing you want, is if you'll notice, let me zoom in some more because this is really tiny. See if that's focused there. Yeah. Oops, back over here. If you'll notice, these rings are like compression rings in a car. They're very similar. They operate the same way, but there are 3 of them, if I count that right. And they have a gap on them. They're gapped just like the rings in a car. So what you want to do is when you're setting these rings, cleaning these rings, you want to make sure that these gaps are all fairly opposite each other as much as possible. And since there are 3 of them, you stick them at like a 270, what do they call it? 135 degree angles. I think that adds up to 360. There's one right there. There's one in the center. There's a hole here. You can see it. I think. I think we're focused in too much, maybe, or not enough. There we go. Let me put my hand here. There we go. Now you can see them. You can see these little tiny slots right here. Well, those are gaps in those rings. See how closely those are spaced? You want this one here. You want them, you know, not exactly opposite each other because I think there's only 3 of them in here. But you want them to be like 135 degrees, which would put them at a triangle away from each other. And it can be a little bit of a bear to manipulate. But once you get the hang of it, you can kind of move them around like so. See me just move this one around right here. There's the top ring. This is your middle ring right here. That one right there. We'll take that and kind of move him around. Rotate it around, see where the other one is. They don't have to be exact, but you want to get them as far away from each other as possible so that they don't rotate and line up with each other, because once they do, that gas starts flying by these, starts slipping by them, and you don't want that to happen. Because these are gas rings. Trust me, they're there for a reason. Anyway, once you get that done, you can just set it off to the side like so. I'll put my thing back in here, zoom back out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this gun and we're going to assemble it on video. As I said, most of the parts here, 99% of the pieces here are right here disassembled. But 100% of the pieces you need to put this gun are sitting right here in front of you. I may not believe that, but it is. That's a whole complete AR, carbine. It's going to be the trunk Maga gun. 16.5 inch Wilson barrel. This is a Wilson Arms. 5.56 NATO. There it is. I'll zoom in on it. Come on, baby, focus. There we go. This camera wants to focus on everything in the background instead of the objects in front of it, so you got to kind of put something big like that in front of it and hope that it'll focus. Or get it up closer.
Let me see if I can.
Pull it back here a little ways. There we go. Now you can see it. Got a little reflection on it from them bright lights. I wanted the lights to be really bright in here. Boy, are they. Anyway, it says Wilson Mars because it's just indented in there in that blur. And it's really reflective. 5.56 millimeter NATO. 1.7 twist. 1 to 7 twist on it. This is the standard bird cage blast suppressor you see on every military rifle. I decided to just stick with the military straight on bird cage flash hider. Okay. But anyway, this is the Trump. Zoom back out again. Well, while I got it in here, this is the drop-in trigger we're going to use. It's adjustable trigger from American Trigger Corp. I'm just going to go through the parts on this and then we'll start assembling. This is the American Trigger Corp ATC Gold trigger. This is adjustable. As you can see back here, you've got two adjustments. One is your actual take-up pressure because it controls a spring right here. That little thing right there, that's a spring. You can see it pressing against the sear. So when you pull your hammer back and you lock it, it always locks in the same spot no matter what. The only thing you're adjusting is the pressure against that sear. It's the only thing you're changing. You're not changing the position of it. You're just changing the pressure it takes to release it. And then there's another adjustment, which is your actual take-up adjustment for semi-automatic. So when you fire it, if you still hold the trigger down, which is just see, hold the trigger down, you come back and you hear that click. That was the sear re-engaging over the hammer. See it right there, it's re-engaged. Release the trigger, sear grabs the hammer and holds it in place until you're ready to fire again. That's adjustable. That take-up is adjustable on there. So it's supposed to be a high-speed, fast reset. It has a little bit of take-up on it, tiny bit. That's probably for safety reasons, whatever, but it has a little bit of take-up on it. But once you touch that thing off, if you think about pulling that trigger, you done already done it. That's how sweet the trigger pull is on these things. Very nice, very crisp, works like a champ. Zoom back out here on some of the other parts. This is part of the furniture on the gun. It's the Trump trigger pistol grip. As you can see, it says Trump, Make America Great Again, and it's got 5 stars across the top, both sides. Skeletonized handle, very cool. The other part of the lower is the buttstock. It's a fixed carbine buttstock. There's your carbine spring, carbine buffer, gold anodized. Ready to rock and roll. The other parts of your lower is the Battle Arms Development Extended Bolt Catch Release. This is your bolt catch release lever on your lower that you either release the bolt or use it to catch the bolt and hold it back. This is your magazine, Battle Arms Development, BAD. magazine release. There's your button. There's your spring. And folks, word of wise, you order a spring kit, make sure it comes with this magazine spring in it. Because sometimes they do not. And son, you don't know what it's like to get right there on that part of the lower and go, oh crap, I've got everything here but the magazine, the spring, magazine release lever. Very embarrassing. Then of course, there's the Battle Arms Development BAD fire control lever. This is for semi-automatic, obviously. If you know anything about these, there is a different one, full auto. And trust me, it's a full different thing. But yeah, this is for the semi-auto version. The other thing that goes with the lure is going to be, this will be, I will just go ahead and paint this gold, colored in, make you match the gun. But there's so many parts, I couldn't get them all Cerakoted. It was getting ridiculous. But I put a carbine end plate on every one of my carbines. I put the 3-point Sling end plate on it. Every one comes with that. What else goes with the lower? Oh, these are your standard, phosphate coated. I think it's phosphate coated pins. Your pivot pin, your takedown pin. That's what they're called. Pivot pin, takedown pin. Those go in your lower. Plus a bunch of springs, detent springs, stuff like that. I already showed you part of the bolt. Here's what is known as the forward. Your forward assist, or your bolt. The original M16 had no forward assist on it. The bolt just flew back and forth in the chamber freely, and it still does. There's no attachment to it. It's one of the few guns out there where the bolt has nothing like a lever or something attached to it, like the Kalashnikov. It has a lever attached to it, and several other, the MP-44 German submachine guns, the Schmeisers, they have a bolt, a little lever sticking out on the bolt. You pull it back, and I think the MP5 is the only other weapon that has a free-flying bolt, because you have a little rod on it that you pull back, and that's how you cock it, and then when you're done, you slam it down and the bolt goes forward. That's how you load an MP5, by the way. It's got a little cocking lever on the barrel shroud, and you just pull it back, and then you slam it forward, and you'll see them do it in the movies, and in real live action use of the MP5. But this is your forward assist in case your bolt gums up, which they did on the original M16s. I can tell you from personal experience, without this forward assist on it, you cannot close that bolt. You can just pull it back and rack it, till it finally slams forward, but you're either chucking out ammo or wasting ammo to do that. The guys in Vietnam quickly found out the WD-40 was your best friend for your infantrymen. That's the best thing you could carry, was a small can of WD-40 in your pack, because you're going to use it if you shoot a lot. But anyhow, it's a lifesaver. That's your forward assist. Your standard dust cover. I have several fancy dust covers that I could probably put on, with the little cute sayings on them and stuff, like live free or die and all those kind of cute things. I said, the heck with it. It's a Trump Maga gun. What more do I need to say? I don't think I need to say and put any other messages on there. Then, of course, there's the famous part of the AR-15. Some people hate, some people love, some people don't like. But these people here from Holy Ambidextrous Charging Handle, and that's what it's called. It's called the Holy Ambidextrous Charging Handle, and you can see why they call it the Holy Ambidextrous. And it is the best, the greatest charging handle ever made for the AR-15. They come in different colors, from anything from black, red, I think they even got a yellow one. This one's in anodized gold. I was so lucky to find this. Trust me, I was like, like holy Christ, they got an anodized gold one. So yeah, I got one of these. If you're going to get serious about having using your AR-15, go ahead and get one of these. You will never regret it. Every one of my guns has this on it, and every one of my guns will come with this on it. Every gun I build is going to come with this charging handle on it, none other. Okay? Best one I've found, no kidding. And I've been through about 5 different ones. And this one works. Every time, all the time, right out of the box. I don't know how many times I can cycle it, but really, if you're doing things right, you shouldn't have to be cycling a whole lot. But this is basically the parts, and to do the assembly on the upper, and I think I might get started with the upper here first. We'll go from the top down. Is you have to have the right tools to do these things, and one of the right tools is a company called BISM, and they make, the only thing bad I don't like about it is these screws are not captive in here. I wish they were, but it's got these 2 screws and this piece here that acts like a bolt, that acts like the actual bolt of the gun, and you screw this together, and when you do, which I'll demonstrate here for you, we'll go ahead and start the assembly right now. Okay, let's get started with our assembly now. Zoom back here just a tad bit. We don't need to see the whole bench. Like I said, one of the tools that we need to do this is a tool that simulates capturing putting on the barrel and torquing the barrel and doing all the upper work is so much easier if you have the right stuff. Okay? And many people try to work on the barrel and do the barrel work with this attached to the lower, and they use a magazine block to hold the gun in place while they torque on the whole assembly. Well, from a physics standpoint and from a logical standpoint, that to me just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't sound kosher. Okay? So what these boys at VSIM did, these fellas at VSIM, they came up with something that locks the upper only. And here it is. Here's your, what do you want to call it? Your bogey bolt, It's like your fake bolt. That slides into your upper. Then you take this part, drop it in there like that, pull this pin out, stick this pin back in. This is like going right off, this goes through your front pivot pin on your upper. There we go, dropping all the screws. That's what I don't like about it. They didn't make those screws captive in here, and I wish to God they would, because every time you turn it upside down like this to put it on, you drop the screws. Let's see, this is very tight because of the Cerakote in here now. Let's see if we can get this thing lined up in here like it's supposed to. That's the one thing about Cerakote is you sometimes will end up real tight fitting parts. I'm kind of squeezing this in here. Let me get out some of my CLP here. One of the things we're going to be using in this assembly process is this stuff called CLP. It's a whoops, zoom back in here. Called Premium CLP from Delta Team Tactical, one of my parts suppliers. In fact, where I bought the barrel from. It's Premium CLP. We'll be using this. I have several bottles of it. And we're going to be using this to assemble this gun with. Very sparingly. Okay? Don't need to get wild with it. Especially when they're running a titanium nitride bolt. You got a slick baby there. Put a little bit on here. Kind of lube her up just a tad. And we'll twist her on in there. This is not really an effort. It's just that Cerakoting is in there, little Cerakoting's in there, and it's a little tight. If you don't think that Cerakoting is thick, you just saw it right there. It made a difference in how tight that pin is by a long shot. Okay, we're going to put that back in there like that. We're going to put this other pin in the back here. It's another one. And they say to use both of these pins when you're doing this. And as you can see right here, that one's tight too. So we're going to put a little slickination on here. Slickenizing. And this stuff does make things slick, trust me. Cleaning, lubricating, and preventive. It does it all at once. So they claim. The military makes a CLP, but they issue also. It looks like a thick white substance, at least stuff I've had. There you go. See, that just slid right on in there. Okay, let me get my screw down here. I dropped on the floor. Okay. Put your Allen screws back in here. It just so happens I already have the tool ready to go. I say I do. There she is. Let me get my thing about here. Oop, that's not the one. Nope, that's not it either. That's the one still stuck down in there? No. Okay, here we go. We're losing time here. There she is. Goes in here like so. And you don't need to wrench them down. Lord of mercy, hand tight's good enough practically. I'll put a little bit of torque on them if I get this cord behind me out of my way. I can just take a pair of pliers here, like so. Just a little tight, a quarter turn. And that's, whoops. Everybody knows about these pliers, I hope. As seen on TV. They're not so all that. Anyway. There you go. Now what you have is a solid mount to do most of your upper work, especially putting on the barrel. You put the device in your vise, your handy dandy bench vise. There she is. She's locked in and ready for Freddy. Now what you'll do is you'll take your barrel, like so. Go ahead and take the flashing suppressor off because I'll have to screw that on later. And that puppy just fits right back up in here like so. And it's got a little knot thing here on the top. Zoom in on it. You can see the little indentation right here on the top, right there. That's where the little notch where it's got a little pin up here where your barrel just notches in there. And it's pretty darn tight. I mean, that is wickedly tight. Okay? Now, there comes the trick part of this. This is going to be using a free float barrel shroud, which I will use on all my guns from now on. One is because they're so easy to install. The other barrel method on the AR-15, anybody knows, whoa, it can be a little bit tedious, let's put it that way. Now this comes with a whole bunch of washers here. Zoom back out here. Comes with a whole bunch of washers. They're actually wafer type washers. They're not flat, they're kind of wafered. What I'm going to do is, one of the things you have to do when you put this barrel on is you take your barrel nut, like so. Zoom out some more. Just down a little more. Easy. And your barrel nut goes on like so. This is your front, this goes to a thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick all the washers on here and see when I get toward the torque sweet spot where all these little holes here line up with the barrel shroud, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and just stick them all on there. And I'll remove the ones I need rather than going back and forth, back and forth. What's the difference? They're not going anywhere and ain't going to loosen up, I can promise you that. So what we're going to do is here now, this is your barrel shroud. We're going to go ahead and pull it on up here and see where them holes are. And right now they're lined up perfect, but when you torque it, it's probably going to rotate a tad. But you can see what I'm going to have here when I'm done. There ain't going to be much room on the end of that barrel. That's a threaded barrel. It'll accept a suppressor. You know, a sound suppressor. But it's going to come with a standard bird cage on it. But it'll still have just enough room for your suppressor to bottom out right there and stop. Which would look pretty cool to have a matching gold suppressor on it, wouldn't it? Woo, doggy. Anyway, but that's just, you know, that's something you have to go get the, currently, you have to go get approval from the government. Unless you live in Texas and it's manufactured in Texas, let me clarify that. You have to go get approval from the government to put a suppressor on your rifle. But if you live in the state of Texas, you don't have to go through that, because all you have to do is buy a suppressor that's made here or make one yourself. So anyway, there's going to be how that goes on here. So in order to do this, we have to get out our little crow's foot or our torque wrench, and we'll do that when we come right back. Okay folks, we're back. Now, what we're going to do now is torque the barrel nut onto our Wilson Cerakote heavy M4 barrel. What you need in this process, if you don't have the right size wrenches, which can vary on these barrel nuts, you can use a device like this called a crow's foot. You can see here it opens and closes. It's got a flexible jaw on it. It's kind of universal. And what you do is you take it and you get it mounted on your barrel nut where it clamps. And this one here, I've got tape around it so to protect it. You got to open her right on up and she will grab. You can feel it. She's grabbed right now. Take your torque wrench, which I have preset to 40 pounds. Now there is a multiplier on this, but it is so small that it's not going to exceed the torque, but it's going to be minimum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to torque this till it goes to the 40 pounds and then hope that the holes line up when they do, and you'll hear it click when she reaches the 40 pounds. I have to turn it the other way, of course. Now, I've got the torque wrench on it, and we're going to torque it. Now you can see that I'm torquing only the top housing here, which is secured by that bolt that I told you before. So there's really no torque being applied whatsoever to this housing practically. It's very minimal. It's basically right here on the barrel, the little shroud here where the barrel goes into. So we're going to run it on up here till we hear pop. This is the old school click wrench. Heard that? There we go. Now let's check and see where our barrel shroud holes are. And see if we have to go a little further or not. Slide her on here like so. Line her up. And boys and girls, we are on the money. I mean on the money. Let me turn it this way here. By the way, this is a 6-way vise from Harbor Freight. Couldn't beat it for the price, boys, friends and neighbors. These holes right here, they line up perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it out of here to show you. Take it out of the vise, spin it back around. My 6-way vise. It can spin. I can rotate the vise head up and down like so. You undo it, and let's see, where's the other piece? Oh yeah, you have to undo the head. But once you do, you can rotate the head. See? You can set your head in any position you need to work on something. So let me re-zero it there. But anyway, get it re-zeroed here. There we go. I usually stick a level on it if I'm going to do something really level. But for these kind of purposes, heck no, that's not necessary. Whoops. Almost lost her. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. You can see right there, those holes are lined up. Let's see, you get it right there. There they are. They're lined up almost completely perfect. And it takes 6 little screws, which I will put on here to show you. It takes these little screws right here. And I'll just show you for demonstration purposes that the screws fit perfect. And it has a little bit of a slot in it, so you kind of adjust it. But this is made by Guntec. It's a kit from Guntec. And you can see with the engraved trump and Maga on it, maybe. Yep, there we go. Ta-da! Those little lights are really bright. There we go. Maga trump. That's your forearm. Okay, we'll put this back in the vise because we have another operation, if anybody's paying attention, that you caught it the way we need to do. And it's called the gas tube. We must install the gas block and the gas tube before we go any further. And we have here the standard Carbine-Length gas tube. Got a little slightly kind of a crook in it here. So it goes up in your device like so. Up in there. Now we can't do it on this because that block is blocking it, but I'll put the bolt back in and we'll show you how we do that next. Because you really don't need no torque on this or nothing like that. Doesn't require any torque. The only time I'm going to require it back in here is when I go put on the flash suppressor, which I actually should do right now. While I got it in here, we'll go ahead and put the flash suppressor on here. To do that, you have to put on what is known as a new crush washer. I think I went through this once before, but I'm going to go through it again. Used crush washer. Kind of flat. New crush washer. got a little cone on it. That cone shape goes toward the barrel. Okay, like so. Your flat goes toward the suppressor. I think I got that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sure, somebody will. Put her on like so. And to do this, you need a certain device. And it's called this puppy right here. This is your standard AR-15 barrel wrench from Wilson. Whoops. Wilson Tools. Very good stuff. But it has just the right notches to do this kind of stuff with. You put it on here. I'm going to gently do it so I don't scratch her up. I can do that. Whoops. God. That thing is longer than I thought it was. Ugh. Pulling stuff off the blooming bench here right in front of God and everybody. But anyway, yeah. Slowly wring her around like so. Just keep going. There's a lot of phosphate on this barrel. This barrel was originally phosphate coated. And my friend Angel, who did the, get this thing tightened up for crying out loud, who did the powder coating on it. Whoops, let me put that back. Get up in there straight. Now you got to make sure this bird cage part here, I don't know where the darn, there it is. Good Lord, went out of the camera for somehow. This bird cage part right here, there's a solid part on the bottom of these bird cage things. I'm going to rotate it around here a little more. You can see how it's solid in here. When this crush washer crushes it, this needs to be on center on bottom. So there's a little indentation up here at the top, the centers, and you'll know when you hit it. Here she goes. Coming around. My center one's right here. Some people mark them, but I don't need to because I know where it is. And I'll just look down here and make sure you put it just right center. It's almost there. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. There she is. Right down the center. I want to nudge it just a little more. You don't want to get carried too hard. But once you back this off from the crush washer, she's done. You throw it away. Now I saved this one here just to use it as an example of what a used one looks like versus a new one. But you just put a brand new crush washer on there when you do this. Okay, boom, and you're done. Hang this back up. Now she's installed, and I can remove this from the device and we can put our gas tube on, and we'll do that when we come right back. We're going to start back now by getting ready to put on the gas block and the gas tube. Here's your little gas hole right here. As you can see, I'll pull this up here. Little hole right here where your gas comes through. And to transfer that energy to your bolt in order to throw it backwards every time you fire, it must be channeled through a device they put enough bags on things, don't they? It's called, in this particular case, a low profile gas block. And uh-oh, see what I did? I got ahead of myself. I can't put it on because I put this on first. Lesson. Check your flow of parts before you put them on there. Now, I just did this really on purpose to show you how you get out of sink on this. Because you get in a big hurry and, oh, I gotta get this done. Well, guess what? That won't slide over the flash suppressor. So now we're going to get the old tool back out. Make sure the little wrench is tight. And it easily comes back off. It's no big deal. Alrighty, tighty, lefty, loosey, right? Put little markers on there, but that's okay. And once again, we're going to have to throw away that's really tight. Let me put this over here. I'm putting too much mark on that darn thing. Let's see. Put this towel over it. There we go. Loosen that puppy. I think I can get it off of my hand now. Yep. Wipe in the background, run the vacuum cleaner. Just had to pick this time to do it, of course. Or I picked just this time to do this while she's trying to run the vacuum cleaner. So as you can see, we have flattened out our crush washer. We crushed it. We crushed it, man. Anyway, there's your crushed washer. And like I say, some people think you got to crush them things completely flat. No, you do not. You just need to crush it enough to where you get that thing on there tight and she's not going to come off. I have seen people, what looks like to me, actually took a flash suppressor off, I suppose, to try out a sound suppressor they'd gotten their hands on. I don't know if it was legal or not. I was not there to hold the lantern, as my mother used to say. But it looks like he put the muzzle brake on there back on with the old crush washer instead of buying a new one, because he's out there at the range with the end of his barrel smoking at the muzzle brake, and then he's saying, "Oh man, it's falling off." And I'm like sitting there right next to this clown with an AR-15 acting like an idiot. Makes you real comfortable about going to a range, doesn't it? Know you've got people that are complete losers out there with deadly weapons like this, have no clue about what they're doing, trying to tell everybody that the 5.56 and 2.23 are totally different. You can't use one or in the other, and that's bullshit, of course. I've already discussed this. As long as it's a 5.56 NATO barrel, you can shoot any 2.23 round through it. Vice versa might be a little different, because the casings are longer in the 5.56, but it ain't going to make any difference. The actual neck, the opening here, not the shoulder, the neck length right here is longer on the 5.56. This part right here. So as long as the shoulder's the same, it's going to fit in a 5.56 chamber. Now, you may have a problem running a 5.56 to a 2.23 that's precisely cut for the 2.23 shoulder. If it is, the 5.56 round may jam in there. Or you may have an overcrimp situation. But other than that, the 2.23 is totally interchangeable. The 5.56 may not be. It depends on how accurately the bore was chambered in the barrel. But from everything I know today, most of the barrels are chambered for 5.56 now, regardless whether it says so or not, just because of those issues. But anyway, buy a barrel that's reliable, custom. Make sure it's 5.56 NATO, so you can put anything through it. The other thing about the 5.56 NATO is there are higher pressures in that cartridge. It's a harder case. In fact, it's even hardened case. It's thicker, it's harder, and it's got higher pressures than the 223, a typical 223. So those are the other issues you have to take into account when buying these barrels. If you get the 5.56 barrel, as I say, you got no issues. Especially a heavy barrel like this, the heavy M4 barrel. You see that's just right here. Now this is the heavy barrel, which you want. Don't get them flimsy little old barrels that they put out for the military. Go ahead and get you the heavy barrels every time you get a chance. Why go for lightweight when you can be a heavyweight? Okay? And in the military weapons world, you really need to be the heavyweight. Anyhow, so what you have to do now is you have to, the gas is chambered through this device here. It's called a gas block. Slides on here just like so. You see how nice and smooth it comes right up here. And we're going to have a little bit of thing here going here. But one of the things you got to make sure when you put this puppy on, I might want to lubricate that a little bit just so it'll slide on nice and easy. Ain't going to hurt none. Put a little CLP on her. Grease her up just a tad. Because it's not going to hurt to have a little oil on it. Promise you. Not at all. A little bit inside here. Just put it on my fingers. Just get it slicked up a little bit. Now, the thing you got to remember is these things direct the gas, okay? It's a gas director. And you have a hole that is in here. I don't know if you can see that hole. There's a hole right here. Let me get my flashlight out. Get the green light out. There we go. And you can see that hole, I think, right there. Let me get the other light. I got another light here too. Somewhere. I did have. Oh, there she is. The old mag light. By the way, I converted my mag lights to LEDs. If you have a mag light, I highly recommend getting the LED conversions for them. They are so much brighter, as you can see. They are oh wow, they're bright. You get a nice bright light out of them. Anyway, as you can see, the gas block has two screws here on the bottom that lock it in place right here. And then inside here there's a hole that goes over the barrel hole, the gas tube hole right there. That little hole right there goes over this hole right here. Okay, it slides over it. And it's obvious which end it is because this end goes to the front. This end is where your gas tube goes in, that goes into your gun. But to do that properly, we have to dismount it from this tool here. Now I did that a while ago to show you that, you know, you get ahead of yourself and now you can't stick your gas block on. But we're going to do it the right way here now. Pop her out. We'll take our pins out. Twist them on out of here. Going good the first time, easy the second time. Shows you how tight that Cerakote makes things. Pull that pin out. Get my tool out here. Undo the Allen bolts in it. See, it loosened them up just now from tightening it up in that thing. Loosened itself up. Get our screws out. That's the one thing you need to do on this tool is to make, as I said before, to make those captive, because see how tight that is? Woo, that's tight. Let's see, we can do this without scratching something. Where's the little, oh, there's my little screwdriver. Take my little screwdriver and we can pin it right between these two parts right here. Kind of pry them apart, like that. Your bogey bolt, or bolt bogey, or whatever you want to call it, it comes out like that. That piece comes off. I'll just stick this back together right quick. Stick it back in the vise. Come on. Well, come on. That's the right way, I know it is. Okay, it does go on. It does go forward. Put this back in. Just quickly put it together here. Slip that there. Now, let's get back into our chair here. Redo our camera so we can see what we're doing. Bingo! Zoomer back out. Maximum speed. Okay, as I said, you have a gas tube. Ta-da! This Carbine-Length gas tube. They're different sizes. And they're different gas blocks for different applications. This is the carbine low profile gas block. Now you'll notice that this gas block, I didn't show you the parts here. Where's that little bag? Oh, there it is. It comes with some tools that I suppose you can change the gas pressure if you're going to be using a suppressor on it, because it changes the pressure when you use the suppressor. And sometimes if you're going to try to use like what we call subsonic bullets, suppressor won't cycle at all. It just goes back and the cartridge stays in there because there's not enough pressure to pull the bolt back. Or so I've been told by people who do it. So anyway, make a long story short, let's put it back on here. So as I said, you have a closed in end and you have an open end. Pretty simple. Slip her on here. And make sure that you get lined up with that hole up here. I need to put some more oil on there because there's so much Cerakote on here. It's really giving me some resistance, which is okay. I don't care. What's going on here? Oh, she's being real resistant here. Let's go see what's going on here. What have I done wrong? Did I get all them screws all the way out? No, I didn't. That's probably what the problem is. Thought them screws were backed all the way out. See, that's another thing you got to check. Just looking at them, it looked like the screws was backed out enough to where it should slide on there, but no. Nope. So we'll go in here and get the silly Ziploc bags open, which I never understand why they make you fight them to get them open. Take the tools out they give you with it and undid them right. Oh yeah. Could have swore that was out enough, but it aren't. Or isn't. Put a little more CLP in there. Should have just slid right on, believe it or not. I was like, why does this thing have so much problem? Well, There you go. Showing you mistakes. Slide her on here like so. Oh, she's going a lot better. See it sliding up there. And pretty much right there is where it should go. Okay? And make sure you got it just right. You look down the barrel here and just kind of tweak it over. Take a look, see. That looks like about right, but so let's just make sure we got air coming through there. Sounds like it to me. And don't worry, my breath going down the barrel ain't gonna affect this this phosphate coated barrel. Trust me. So we just pull this back out a little ways here, and we're going to go ahead and put our gas tube in because it's a little knobby and it's got like a little knob on the end of it. On the end of it here, little knobby thing that goes up in here. And it goes up in there quite a ways. Again, we have a Cerakoting issue here. What's going on here? Boy, that's tight in there. Woo! I'm telling you, that Cerakote makes a difference when you're trying to put this stuff on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little rubber dubber hammer here. I'm going to kind of give it a little encouragement. Just a tap. I'm not going to bend the tube or nothing. There we go. Just had to overcome a little spot. Just slide right up on in there. Like so. See? Now this piece, you'll notice that it's got a little quirk in it to let it go over that let's see, we got to slide this back some more. So the kind of tube's got to kind of be in the place over your barrel nut there, because that's what it's going to go to. Put it over here. There we go. Because your tube's going to be your hole. You see, comes through the bottom here. This is your inlet hole right there. Okay. You've also got a pin that allows you to pin it right up here. So let's pull her back just a little more. Okay. Sounds like Amazon.
Someone's at your front door.
Giving me a little trouble here. Here we go. So there's my hole. Now if I've done this right, should be able to shove that right up on there, like so. Should see daylight through this pinhole right here. There should be daylight through that, or, as the case may be, we'll stick a Allen wrench through it, and it ain't quite there. See, it's not. It's a little bit off. I'm gonna back it up just a tad. Looks like that buffer tube is too long for this gun. Or something ain't right, because it's way up here in the gun. I may have gotten the wrong buffer tube for this thing with them. They may have sent me the wrong one. Let's see what we got here. Well, there's my hole, my gas tube hole. And this is not the right length gas tube. Woohoo! Looks like I've got not the carbine length gas tube, but the regular length gas tube. So now we're in a quandary because that gas tube is too long. Way too long. It's about an inch too long. So I'm going to have to look and see why they sent me the wrong length buffer tube for this barrel. Because that's what they've done. This was all one kit. This all came together. It was a carbine length, everything. Supposed to be come together. I asked them the carbine length buffer tube, but this is not the right length. So I'm going to have to order another buffer tube. So we might just move on to another part of the project because we've hit a snag right here. As you can see, this is where the hole is going to be for the gas tube. If I shove the gas tube all the way up in there to where it's supposed to clock in, index into that hole, it's too long. Yeah, that's way too long because my gas hole's back here. And here's what my standard length guard, here's where she is. She's that much long, too long, right there. Because that's what it would normally look like. Well, go back a little more here. Go back right about there. That would be about, no, that's just a little too far too. But anyway, it's about an inch too long. That's what it looks like. Looks like it's almost an inch too long. Let me back it off a little more. Because it should come down just about right there. Put the bolt in here and let's see what it looks like. Yeah, see, the bolt's saying it needs to go back a lot further. Yeah, the bolt's saying it needs to go back. Yeah, they gave me the standard length. Instead of giving me the carbine length tube, they gave me the standard length tube with this low profile block. Unfortunately. So that's a major hold up right there. That's not going to fly. As you can see, it's about probably about almost 2 inches long, too long. So I got the wrong length gas tube. So it's one of the things you got to watch when you get your parts is do your measurements and make sure you got the right length stuff. But no, I don't have the right thing. Let me see something right here right quick. Yeah, she's 16.5-inch barrel. She's legal beagle. But they got me the wrong gas tube. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, after this break, we're going to move on over and start putting the lower together instead. Which is going to be just as much fun, of course. So we'll put this aside for now, and I'll go back to my parts supplier and tell them I made a mistake and somehow told them the wrong thing. I think. I don't know. I had to go back to my order and see what I ordered. But I could have swore I ordered the carbine length too. But folks, with what's been going on lately, I am very surprised I got the parts I got. Because I waited so long to get things. It's just unbelievable how long I've waited for stuff. And, well, if you're in this business, you'd know. But anyway, we're going to put this aside for now. The bolt, the barrel is mated secure to the upper. So get the bolt out here. We'll put the upper aside for now, and we'll move over to doing our lower here, which is just as cool. And I've got got cool stuff to do that too with. And the first thing I think we're going to do is, when I get back on the break, is we're going to put in the front pivot pin with that cool tool I showed y'all. So stand by, we'll be back in a moment. Comment, like, and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. Thank you for watching.